I couldn't carry my beard, I'm kind of upset. All right, my name is Austin.
And I'm Ramzy.
And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a nerd, and I'm kind of a terrible person.
We all are this time.
Myself and a team of geniuses over there came across a problem. We run into these problems. We have events just like this one. We have small events, we have large events. We have events all across the country. We have events from here to Charlottesville, to Boston, to Utah, to Portland, Oregon. We have events everywhere. The events that happen, they're a $54 billion market. This market is massive. Now, we have events. What we found is 85% of the time, these events are organized by somebody like Ramzy, somebody like myself, somebody like you, somebody like Greg Hoffbauer. These events are hard to come by, and the question that always arises is, why is it so hard to find space to hold my event?
On the other side, there are plenty of vendors who have great space, such as this beautiful memorial, who don't advertise their space. So spaces such as here, there are smaller spaces such as restaurants and big convention places in the Richmond area. Our goal is to kind of marry these two stakeholders and provide a perfect union for the perfect event.
Ladies and gentlemen, eventspaces.co. Now, when Greg and Larkin were finding space for this event, they ran into a bunch of problems. After 9 Google searches,
5 rejections,
after the runaround from 4 vendors,
just 1 callback.
they stumbled across the problem that they can't find space. Now, with eventspaces.co, they can answer that question. Now they can come to a streamlined format to find the space to hold their event.
So let's run through Greg's situation with Startup RVA using eventspace.co. Knowing he needs a venue in the Richmond location, coming up. And of course, Greg needs a few amenities, a few needs to have a successful event. First, Wi-Fi, we need plenty of parking, and outside catering. Through this intuitive and user-friendly search list, we're able to kind of narrow down that list to the perfect venues that can carry locations such as Startup RVA.
Now, not only does Greg find a great place to search for his event, he doesn't have to leave the site to go from searching to booking. He can inquire about a venue, he can actually pay money through our site and book his event in his event space today. He never has to leave the site. It's streamlined in an intuitive way to come across a space or list your space to have an event held. Now, there's value in events. Like we said, a $54 billion market. Just in this area, in Richmond Metro, or rather Virginia metropolitan areas, we've got Northern Virginia, we've got Hampton Roads, and we've got Richmond, Virginia. There are 350,000 businesses that have the potential to have space to rent out. Sometimes that space stays vacant.
Well over 10,000 organizations, special interest groups, businesses, and nonprofits.
Now let's be realistic and cut that number in half. So let's talk about 175,000 businesses that have potential space to be in our market.
Going down to 3,000 individuals who need space.
Now, let's be even more realistic and talk about the people who might use our site. Let's talk about 90,000 businesses that might have extra space to list on our site.
And these are events that are held monthly, quarterly, and annually.
Now, our value to the venue is the fact that we're offering them an easy, streamlined way to post their space and have people look at it and potentially use that for their event. Now, on the customer side, you've actually got leads and views, you've got eyes coming to the site, and you've got ways for people to see the spaces that they can use for their event.
The value prop from the customer position from RVA and Greg is that we offer a convenient, streamlined process from A to Z when it comes to event management and booking.
And we make money a lot of ways. For one, we offer a booking fee. We take that booking fee and we actually monetize the use of that space. So when that space is rented, we get a rip from that. We can do advertising and a lot of different things with the site and the traffic coming to the site. So we've identified that problem, that there is a lack of space. Greg has actually confirmed that, as have a lot of people just in this room from small meetups and the things we do day in, day out, every month and every year.
By saving vendors and customers time, convenience, and creating a marketplace for these venues, we allow for the best possible event to be held by the organization.
Eventspaces.co.
Thank you.
that was fantastic. Actually, in addition to working Frontier Project, I owned a few restaurants before, still do, and it's always a battle to fill some of that space, especially when we're open during sort of non-peak hours. Question is, in terms of the sort of infrastructure piece, or what the restaurant actually has to do, or what the space has to do, how are they getting signed up, and what sort of work do they have to do? Or as you just mentioned that the customer can go and basically do all of it on your site. What does the actual vendor location have to do in order to make that happen?
So we've got actually both sides of that. The beauty of the system is that it's a hub. It's not just for customers to search. It's for spaces to live. And so the same way the customer signs in, just the nature of the weekend, we didn't actually build much of that end for the vendor. So we showed the customer path because that seems to be one of the biggest things for spaces. We realized that's an issue. And so they can log in, sign up, and post pictures. We've actually talked with Greg Hoffbauer, who does a very interactive visual application. Right, Groundwork Design. Groundwork Design actually does a 3D visual tour of spaces. So we talked about using that as more premium membership. People can tour the site. You can just upload that as a vendor.
What's your ideal size ad? Does it range from minimum to?
That's a good question, actually. So the event market is a $54 billion market, but within that market, 50% of these groups held events that are 50 individuals or smaller. So you're speaking smaller special interest groups, small business meetings, maybe school groups. These are the type of venues that we're looking to cater to with a lot of the local vendors. Places like Bella Sue, the Aurora Club downtown, a lot of places that have venue in the back that don't advertise, don't have a sales force, or a person in charge of that area are able to really come out to event space, be in this marketplace, create great exposure, and also allow for ancillary products to really add value.
How much do you want us to make that it would cost to actually build out a fully functional back-end system?
$110,000.